What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the Emperor's Blade build in Dune Awakening. So in this guide I will give you a quick overview of the setup, then I will explain what skill trees and upgrades should you focus on. Then as well we'll see what is the best gear and how to get it for both leveling and the endgame. And then finally we will go over the different tools, classes, your skill rotations, and even what weapon should you use, so we would be able to get the highest damage possible and much more. And before we continue, thanks to the U4GM, their pro website that provides Dune Awakening Solari and items on all servers with cheap price and fast delivery. They have over 11,000 positive comments, and this website is really worth a try. So make sure to use my discount code KATE for extra 5% off. The Emperor's Blade build is one of the most aggressive and satisfying melee playstyles that are currently available in the game. What makes it truly stand out is its ability to stay consistently in the motion while dishing out massive damage with the low cooldowns. This setup is built around one idea in mind: to close the gap fast, then stagger or parry your target and then let loose with your core abilities, especially the Eye of Storm. This skill alone can absolutely melt enemies when timed right, and when used during the prescience windows. It deals double damage, allowing you to wipe out targets in seconds even in the tougher fights. The beauty of this build is how it mixes speed, the raw power, and the quick combat execution. It's designed for players who enjoy being in the thick of the fight, reading enemy movement and reacting in real time. If you love timing dodges, triggering perfect parries, and spinning through the groups of enemies like a bladed tornado, then the setup is just for you. The fast-paced, skill-based nature of the Emperor's Blade build will mean it's highly engaging and keeps you on your toes, making every encounter feel dynamic and rewarding. And because it's centered on the core Swordmaster mechanics, it scales beautifully as you invest into the right passives, gear, and the weapons later in the game. To begin with, you're going to focus entirely on the Swordmaster tree. This class offers a perfect combination of active abilities and the passive bonuses that all synergize towards one goal: keeping you mobile while dealing very heavy melee damage. Your first priority should be unlocking the ability called the Knee Charge. This is your main initiator. It lets you slam into the enemies, stagger them while closing the gap quickly. It's your go-to opener and the fastest way to break the flow of a range or defensive enemy. And then, once you are in their face, you can immediately shift into the core combo. Next up we have Solido Decoy. This is deceptively powerful. Not only does it confuse enemies, but also give you time to reposition, heal, or catch a breath in mid-fight. When you're deep in a group or going one-on-one against a tankier enemy, then popping your decoy can swing the fight back in your favor. But the real heart of this build is the Eye of Storm. This spinning AoV bladed ability is your signature move. It deals consistent melee damage around you, but when activated during the prescience, it becomes devastating, doubling its damage and allowing you to smash through the enemies like a butter. To support these active abilities, you will want to pair them with specific techniques. The Reckless Lunge is a great one to start with. It gives you damage mitigation when you sprint into the enemies, which pairs beautifully with the Knee Charge. Dance of the Blades is another essential technique. Every time you defeat an enemy, your next melee strike is empowered, which helps you to keep momentum going in long fights. Finally, grab Discipline Breathing early on. It increases your stamina regen, so you can keep up your dodging, parrying, and sprinting throughout every encounter. Also, don't ignore the non-Swordmaster options like the Bindu Sprint and the Shigvear Claw. You can equip these in your travel and exploration loadout to maintain your mobility and agility when you're not directly in the combat. These tools are especially helpful for traveling through the terrain quickly or repositioning during the bigger fights. Then next, as you transition into the mid-game, your goal should be to sharpen your fences while deepening your survivability. The trick here is to avoid tunnel visioning into just one passive tree. Instead, spread out your points across the Swordmaster, Bene Gesserit, and maybe even the Planetologist to unlock early passives that give you much more benefits. For example, look for passive bonuses to max stamina, energy regen, and the healing received. These will help you to sustain aggressive playstyle and reduce downtime between the fights. During this phase, your rotation should begin to feel smooth, so engage with the Knee Charge. Land a quick parry and dodge to avoid damage. Then activate the Eye of Storm when you see the prescience active. Then follow this up with the basic melee strike, and then fall back temporarily by using the Solido Decoy if your health dips too low. On top of this, crafting healing kits will become more important in this phase, and you should always keep a few on you, since you'll be consistently up close and trading damage. Also, experiment with the tech tree unlocks that support energy management. You're going to burn through the stamina and power quickly, and unless you start gearing towards regeneration, you will feel a bottleneck. Abilities like the Dance of the Blades and the Discipline Breathing will become even more crucial, because they increase uptime time and allow for longer sustained pressure. And now lastly, once you hit the endgame, most of your skill trees are filled out, and it's time to refine the build into its most powerful form. Start by maxing out every single Swordmaster passive that you unlocked so far. Prescience Strike should become your priority. It allows your next melee ability to deal double the damage whenever you trigger the Prescience. Also, the Eye of Storm synergizes with this so well that it can become your entire damage combo in both PvE and PvP. This is also where you can start introducing advanced gap closers like the Weirding Step or better versions of the Shigvear Claw. Combining these with your existing movement skills will create a loop of mobility and offense that is hard for enemies to react to. You should feel like you're controlling the flow of the battle at all time, hitting from the angles, spinning through the groups, and resetting fights with a solid doe decoy. You'll also want to refine your gear perks and the weapon bonuses. Go for equipment that boosts melee damage, cooldown reduction, or damage resistance during the sprint or parry. Also, passive armor perks that enhance synergy regeneration or the stamina return are also top tier choices, allowing you to keep cycling through your skill rotation with no interrupts. Then next up, in terms of armor, your main concern is staying alive while you're right into the enemy's face. A great early choice is the Slaver's Heavy set. It provides you with enough durability without sacrificing too much speed. Later on, you can upgrade to gear with the enhanced melee resistances or the stamina regen bonuses. Also, don't underestimate the importance of the suspensor belts. Even in melee builds, mobility tools are key, so equip the Emperor's Wing MK1 early on, as it gives you solid movement boosts and lets you reposition during chaotic fights. Later, the belt will give you longer range or the energy efficiency, which will help you to sustain your pressure. Pair your belt with a strong power pack. Look for ones like the old Sparky MK1, which improves your power regeneration. The longer your power lasts, the more abilities you can cast without being forced to retreat. Managing these resources will become the second nature with a practice, and it separates a good player from a great one. Next we have our weapons. Your bread and butter is the long blade. Look for fast, hard-hitting options like the Adapt Rapier or the Caleb's Jinker. These are great for chaining light attacks between the ability casts. If you can, unlock passives that boost blade damage or attack speed to further elevate your base output. Your melee combo should feel like a dance. Strike, dodge, spin, and repeat. While melee is your focus, don't be afraid to carry a secondary weapon like a shotgun or a sidearm for the range support. Sometimes you will need to deal with enemies at a distance or break shields before diving in, so weapons like the Distributor or the Karpov 38 can give you that extra edge in tougher fights or group content. And now last but not least, let's take a look at the gameplay. I recommend to start your fights with a knee charge to stun and close the distance, then immediately follow with a parry or a dodge to minimize damage. From there, spam the lightning blade strikes while building towards the Prescience window. When it activates, trigger the Eye of Storm and watch enemies get shredded. Your movement tools like the Suspensor Dash, Anti-Gravity Field, and the Solido Decoy should be used often and intelligently. If you're being overwhelmed, then use Suspensor Dash to get out of the fight, then drop a decoy to confuse enemies and reset. You can also use the Shigvear Claw to yank enemies off the ledge or into the danger zones. Always be moving, always be pushing. Control the tempo of the battle and never let your enemy dictate the pace. The stronger your rhythm and reaction time, the more devastating you become. Your build thrives on punishing mistakes, turning every dodge and parry into a brutal counterattack. And once you master the flow, the Emperor's Blade build will become one of the most rewarding and lethal setups in the game. So, let me know what you think about this build in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, then you definitely don't want to miss my previous videos, where I will show you the best class tier list, top 5 even more powerful builds, and much more. So click the screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.